This is the plaintiff, Pamela. She says she and the defendant started dating in June of 2022, and on Labor Day he got drunk and they had a fight, and she kicked him out. The alcoholic kicked in her door, started a whole big commotion, and she had to move out because her landlord didn't want to deal with this drama. Her ex now owes her $2,463.21, which he refuses to pay. So she's suing him here and now for just that. This is the defendant, Myron. He says he thought the plaintiff stole his car keys when she kicked him out after they argued at a Labor Day party. He admits he got mad and kicked her door in, but he paid her for most of it and just has a couple of hundred left. Why would she think he's going to pay her moving expenses is crazy. And he's not paying because he's not responsible. He's accused of losing it on a door.
All parties, please use your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Williams presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Pamela, you're suing Mr. Myron for $2,463.21, your moving costs, and the balance of a door that he busted. Tell me what happened.
Yes, the defendant, we were started dating around the end of May, and everything was going good for a couple of months. So on the day of the event, on September the 4th, I had a little get-together before the holiday and dinner party, and we were playing cards, spades, and we were just having a good time, laughing, and he was just joking, and I don't think he was too happy about the comments they were making with the card game, but it was all in fun, and he wasn't taking it too well. He was a little irritated.
What were they saying?
You know, like he dealt the wrong cards out. He was playing the cards, and he missed somebody's hand, and the card fell on the floor, and then they were like, do you know how to deal, or something like that, and then he started saying that he was mad because they were reneging, and that's a part of the spades game. So everybody was like, well, it's just a card game. It's just all in fun. Why are you being so serious? So I didn't cater to the emotions because I was just trying to have a good time, and I didn't understand. He seemed a little bit irritated when they came in, and I didn't understand why he was irritated, but I didn't have time to ask him because I was hosting. And everybody else felt like his attitude was different as well. So we proceeded to play the game, and then we ended it, and then we decided to go to another location, play pool. And he was okay with going to the next location, but he said that he wanted me to stay behind and have a talk with him before everybody, when everybody left. So when we decided to talk, he stated that he was upset with my friends. He didn't like the comments. He felt that they were insulting him, making fun of him. And I disagreed. He stopped me immediately and said, no, let me finish talking. And so I let him talk. But he made me feel like I should be a little bit worried about his behavior. The way he was talking to me, the way he was looking at me, he was kind of like in a rage. He was just really, really upset, and I had never seen him act like that prior to us dating for a couple of months. He was always pleasant, calm, and we had good times.
Are your friends still there while you two are talking?
No, at that point they had left.
All right, so you tell him to leave?
Yeah, so I listened to him, and then I asked him would he politely leave because we can talk about it in the morning. We had been drinking, and I just felt it would be better that he leaves and we talk about it in the morning. Plus, my daughter was there in the other room.
How old's your daughter?
11.
Okay.
And she was in another room, and I just felt like if I continued to conversate with him, it might escalate.
Okay.
And I didn't want anything to happen, and she was there. So I asked him to leave. He wasn't too happy about me asking him to leave. He asked could he go with me to the other event to play pool. I said, no, you have a problem with my friends. I think you need to go home. So he was not happy, but I know I made sure I gathered all his things, his cell phone, his keys, put it in the bag, his even carry-out food to make sure he had everything he needed. So when I walked him to the door, he left. When I shut the door, he kicked the door, and then he called me a B word.
Wait, hold on. When you as soon as you shut the door, he kicked the door?
As soon as I shut the door, that was the first kick. As soon as I shut the door, he kicked it, and then he called me a B. And at that point, I knew I was done talking to him because I was totally disrespectful, and it wasn't called for.
Disrespected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when he got out to the parking lot about 5-10 minutes later, he called me, and he was cursing, calling me names and saying, he accused me of having his keys. He said, I don't have the keys. I can't get in the car. And I said, I don't have your keys. Your keys are in the bag. No, I don't have the keys. He just kept going back and forth. I just hung up the phone. And then 5 more minutes later, he called again, and he was loud. I went out to my balcony. I could hear him in the parking lot. I told him that if he doesn't calm down, someone's going to call the police. And so he said, well, I'm going to call the police on you. And I said, okay, go right ahead. I don't have your keys. So to calm things down, I did go outside to try to help him find the keys, because I felt that the keys were in the parking lot. I felt he threw it because I know I gave it to him.
Okay.
When I got down there to do that, he called me James again. And at that point, I said, no, I'm coming back in the house. I'm not going to help you. You're not going to disrespect me. So when I came back in, a couple of minutes later, he comes back upstairs. And that's when he wants me to let him back in, and I have refused. And that's when he started kicking the door in really, really hard, like about 4 or 5 times. Probably a couple more kicks, I think he would have had it in. And I was just standing there in shock.
Had the police already been called?
The police hadn't been called. After he kicked it, I said, if you kick the door in, I'm calling the police. But the police had just arrived. They were already down.
Because he had already called.
Because he had already called.
What were you doing kicking her door down when you had already called the police?
Well, Your Honor, I was kind of intoxicated, and everything she said was right. When I took my bag to the car when I left, actually the keys fell out the bag. And she called my friend, and my friend came and got me. And the next day, they found the keys in the bushes. And
Okay.
I thought she really had them, so I kind of got irate a little bit.
But if she asks you to leave and wants you to leave, why would she keep your keys and prevent you from leaving?
I don't know.
Because you were drunk and you weren't making sense. All right, so you kicked her door down, and you got to pay for that.
No, I didn't really kick her door down.
Well, no, you didn't succeed, but you tried to, and
no,
there was
no,
door damage, and your landlord fixed it to the tune of what?
No.
Hold on. To the tune of what?
$1,001.30, I
Okay,
believe.
so go ahead.
So I did kick the door. I didn't know I kicked it that hard due to my intoxication. I'm wrong. I'm responsible for it. So I approached the car, and I couldn't.
What did the police do that night? Did they take anybody in? No, right?
No, they tried to help me with my keys because they wanted me to leave the scene.
Because they wanted you to leave in that state? If you were that drunk that you don't, you know.
I didn't want to get in the car. I'm glad she called my friend. He came and got me, and he took me home. I left my car there.
Well, what happened the next morning when you woke up with a really bad headache? What'd you do?
I didn't have a headache.
No?
No.
All right, so you weren't that drunk. All
I
right,
wasn't
so
that drunk. So
what did you...
I actually came back. I had to go to the police to get my keys because they located my keys.
Are the police the ones who found it, or are you?
I found it, and then when I found it, the police was still there because the fire department came, everybody.
Fire department?
Well, because when he kicked the door in, it was jammed. The lock was jammed.
Nope, the police couldn't get in, you couldn't get out?
And they said that was a hazard for me and my daughter to stay there.
So they
called the fire department.
The fire department comes in with an axe?
The door in.
Yeah. How
And
did
that
the fire
made-
department get it open?
Some kind of metal thing.
A
or
battering
something.
ram?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
some kind of raid or something.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
I didn't kick
Hold
you that
on a
hard.
sec. Whoa, the fire department had to come. Stop
Yes.
minimizing it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And he didn't even know all of that. He
No,
just
no.
thought that he meant him,
Yeah.
you know, like I said.
Yeah.
He didn't think he did that much damage. So he had already left.
Okay.
So when they busted the door in, they said me and my daughter had to get our clothes and go somewhere and stay because it was the day before the holiday. The rental office was closed, and there was no way to seal my door back in for us to be secure. So we had to pack our stuff up and
Oh,
leave.
jeez.
The police department and fire department was still there, and they escorted us down to the car, and we waited, and something told me, I got out the car, and I said, I'm gonna look for the keys one more time. I looked around, I went to the bushes, but the first time I went to the parking lot. I went to the bushes, and there the keys, because they had a long chain, I could see the chain, but it was dark. But I found, and then I pulled it up, and I said, officer, here we go. And he said, give it to me, do not contact him. He can come to the police station to get his keys.
The plaintiff says the defendant, her ex-boyfriend, is the guy that got drunk one night and kicked in her door, breaking it. Now, the defendant says the plaintiff stole his keys and locked him out, so he was just trying to get back in. Let's listen.
So he didn't know that we found the keys until the next morning, all that night.
So did you two talk after this?
We did talk like about a couple weeks later. He did talk because he was apologetic and saying
He didn't
was sorry.
apologize the next day? He
No,
didn't?
he was still going on and on. He even threatened.
In fact, he said, I saw in a text that he says to you, there better be nothing wrong with my car or your car.
Or
Or
gonna be set
and
on
in fact, I
fire.
think he also said, I know where you live or something
Yeah,
like that.
well, he hadn't even got home yet, and the police officer was in my apartment.
And he's
he
sending
text-
those to you and you're showing them to the police.
Yes, and he called. First he called and said, when I get home, I'm getting my gun, I'm coming back. And then I handed the phone to the police officer, and he said, Myron, and he hung up on him. And then he texted me. He knew the police officer was still there. He texted me. That's when he said, I'm going to get my gun. And then I showed the police officer text, and that's when the police officer stated.
Wait, you showed the police officer a text him saying he was going to get his gun?
And he
Do you
said,
have that? Do I have that text?
Yes, you do, where it says,
Just
I'm
a
going to
minute.
get
Just
your
a
gun.
minute. Just a minute.
And the police officer said, well, you could charge him for menacing, and I could go get him right now.
Yeah, why didn't you do
I
that?
was scared. I was crying. I never had this happen to me before. And I felt like he was going to eventually go get the gun and come back, like he said.
Yeah, so that's why you do exactly what the police officer says.
Yeah.
Why would you not do what the police
I don't
officer
know.
said?
I was scared. And then they sent the women helping women over to talk to me, and they just suggested a order of protection.
All I want is my keys to my car. Keep it simple. I will spend some money. Please give me my keys. I don't give an F who you call. B, give me my keys. I will show you how I get down. Watch. If my car get taken to the lot, stand by. Your car will be on fire. Get my gun.
Yeah.
You know, Your Honor, I'm going to not blame this on the alcohol.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can. Get my gun. So did you try to get a restraining order?
Yes.
And?
I didn't get it. I didn't follow through with it. He kept on and he texted me months later and insisted he would never come by, and I don't believe he did. I told him if he ever came by again, I would definitely call the police. So
Why didn't you get a restraining order, though?
I didn't get one.
You just
I don't
didn't?
know. I just didn't.
All right. So he started paying you for the door, and he has a remaining balance of $298.21 on the door. Is that correct?
He didn't pay me yes, that is correct.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. But you are also suing him for money you had to pay your landlord in order to break the lease, a portion of your security deposit that was forfeited, money for movers. Why would he have to pay that stuff?
Well, when since I didn't do the protection order, and the officer said, well, this is grounds for you to possibly to move or break your lease because he may come back, or you're afraid of him coming back. And I said,
Get your
yes.
legal advice from a lawyer, not from the police, but go on.
Yeah, so I took the police report, and then I went down to the leasing office, and I asked them if this was ground for me either moving me to another apartment in the back or either let me break the lease. And they said they would not move me to another apartment because it may happen again. And they said, well, we'll let you buy out on the lease and leave early. So I agreed to buy out on the lease for 2 months out to leave early. And it took me a couple of months to come up with the money that they wanted me to buy out, which was $2,900, which was a lot. And I had to come up with moving expenses.
And you feel he should pay it?
Yeah, because he inconvenienced me to move. I felt like
I see that you've continued to text him after this.
Well, he continued to text me, and
right,
I
I know,
respond
but
back.
one would expect if he has to pay for your move, your argument to me legally is you only moved because of this, and because you're so afraid of him. I wouldn't expect you to keep texting him and making demands for more money and this money and that money, and he should pay. I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would expect you to change your phone number.
Right. Well, I blocked him from social media, and the only reason why I kept the communication on the text was because I wanted to make sure I got the money for the door because they told me I had to pay for the door.
Right.
And at that point, I didn't know if I was going to agree to the buyout agreement until then. So I went ahead and kept communicating with him only because I was waiting for the money. I didn't expect to take 2 months for them to find a contractor to repair the door, and then he kept on.
How long did you live there after this happened?
Let's see, that happened September. I moved December 22nd.
Okay.
So it took them 2 months to give me the invoice because he kept saying, I'm not going to give you the money for the door until you give me the invoice. I'm not
Well,
going
but
off
I
your
mean,
word.
that's not unreasonable.
Well, yeah. So it took me 2 months.
Especially when it's $1,000. It's
Right.
not, you know.
So it took me 2 months, and that's why the communication went on, and I felt bad about that. Everybody kept saying, block them, don't communicate. But I was trying to say, well, how am I going to get the money to pay for the door I just kept the
Right, but it makes
communication.
your argument that you moved because of him and he should have to pay for your move a
Right.
little weaker.
Well, that's why I said to have.
Especially when you didn't get a restraining order.
Right. And that's why
Okay,
I
so
didn't-
Myron, please go to the hospital VA as soon as possible. Get help and some medicine. No one is judging you. There is nothing I did wrong. We were playing cards. It's a black thing.
Your Honor, this event was laughter, humility. I
Okay,
mean, we
it
had a good
doesn't
time.
matter. So stop dating each other. That's the right response, not this. I'm not being nice anymore because you are taking me for granted now. Tell your sister to call me. I can't deal with this anymore. Pay attention. Watch your back.
That's
Why
what he
would
was
that
saying.
be what you say to her saying this?
Yes.
Were you trying to get back with her?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I made a mistake, and
Yeah. Well, no, that's it.
yes, well,
Yeah, that's it.
yes.
Yeah, that's it. You blew it. You don't. Every time you blow it, and someone then says, "Okay, I don't want to see you," you don't get to say, "Pay attention, watch your back," and threaten them. You're not drunk then, are you? Are you high or drunk here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Another no good lion blank B with a hidden agenda. She couldn't have been more polite about this situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're the one. She had a chance to press charges on you and didn't.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? She had a chance to get a restraining order and didn't. It'd be fine if you could just pretend that this was just an isolated thing that night because you were intoxicated, but you can't because I see you behaving the same way later. I see you talking about watching her back and you're a lion just like all the others. I think that maybe you should see somebody. You
Yes,
know,
Your
I
Honor.
think you should get some help for you, not for her or anybody else, for you.
Yes,
you
Your
know,
Honor.
especially if you have that help available at the VA. Oy.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says that she had to move out of her house because of all the commotion the defendant caused, and she wants the judge to make things right. But the defendant says there's no way he's paying this woman for her moving expenses because he's not responsible for her getting kicked out. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Your Honor, I take full responsibility.
Do you? Because do you take responsibility for how you acted
Yes, Your Honor.
much later?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you're threatening her just because she says you should see somebody, I don't want to see you,
I
and
wanted
won't
to
get back with
I
you.
wanted to snap back at her some type of way, and that was wrong. The way
I'll say,
yes.
I will pay for the door too. I'm going to give you the money anyway, and I will give you money every month for my foolishness. I don't want to be a bad person. Let's be friends, please.
So I have tried to compensate her in many other ways. She's a very good person. I made a mistake.
What is your position on whether you owe her the money for moving?
I don't feel comfortable with that. But,
Because it's not fair because you feel that she was going to move anyway?
well, she has some issues with her apartment complex, and she went and talked to several people about it, and I guess they came back in a retaliation way, and due to having another event about the door on my behalf, they were kind of upset, trying to force her to move. I still feel that I should be totally responsible for the fees for her new establishment. But I mean, I will help out a little bit.
He did, Your Honor, he did offer to give me payment.
No, I see that he does in the text. The question is that legally binding somehow? When
okay.
people talk because they're trying to get you back, that's, or whatever, they make a gratuitous statement, that's not really a contract that you can enforce.
Okay.
You may have chosen to do that. In life, we make
Right.
choices, and that's fine. But the only way he is legally responsible for paying that is if this is a direct result of him. And I might move too if I was in that situation, but I would have to pay for the move.
Right.
I wouldn't go to court and sue him and say, you've got to pay for the move because I decided to do this. Did you have problems with the landlord before that?
No, never did have any problems, and that's why I was a little upset.
What
about
was it that you cut out a text here? You couldn't call me or text, but you can write all this BS. What
Well,
was in that text?
That was when I reached out to him to let him know that I had just happened to look at my email, and they were coming to fix the door the next day. And I reached out to him to let him know they're coming tomorrow. Do you have the funds? And he didn't respond. And I said, hello. And then that's when he said, oh.
Shortly after that, Your Honor, due to me having a lot of other stuff going on, I had a stroke 4 days later. And that's why this process is taking so long. I'm willing to pay. I was willing to pay the full amount for the door. I'm still willing.
Well,
to
you
pay
still
the rest.
haven't paid it.
Yes,
You haven't finished
I
paying
owe her
it.
$200.
So you're in a relationship now. Where did that come from? No relationship. That concert is for couples. That's what you said to me. When I saw you with this old-ass blank, that made me angry because you full of blank. You always had a hidden agenda. What is this about?
Well, because I went to a concert and he was at the concert.
I
He
paid
didn't.
tickets for the concert.
That's why
And-
he was asking for the concert
Yeah.
tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
due to
stop,
this-
stop. And what? And then you
Okay,
posted
he
a
paid for
picture?
the tickets, and then I gave him his tickets back. But I did go to the concert with someone else.
Oh.
And I transferred his tickets.
Did she give
back.
you the tickets back?
And
Yes, she
he
did.
went
Oh.
with someone else.
All right.
And then
Okay. All right.
went
We're
with
done.
somebody
We're done.
else.
We're done.
I
We're
went with
done.
somebody
Stick a
else.
fork in me. I'm done. I'm going to order him to pay you the $298.21, which is the balance owed on the door. I am not persuaded that I think that I think it was clear to you. And I say this because there's even some language along this lines in your complaint that this landlord was never going to re-rent to you.
Right.
They were never going to re-rent to you. So they wouldn't give you another place to live, and they were kind of hoping you'd
Leave.
Yeah. So no one wants to, hang on a wing and a prayer. You want to be settled, and
Yeah.
so I think that's the real reason that you moved. But and maybe that's because of the unfortunate circumstances that happened that night. But that's not a direct result that's actionable in court. So I'm ruling in your favor in the amount of $298.21, and of course your court costs. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff is going to get $298, not the $2,400 she was seeking. It's the balance due on the door. Myron's on his way out of the courtroom. I gather you're not surprised about that. You're willing to pay it anyway,
yes,
weren't
yes,
you?
Yes, sir, I am.
I mean, I gathered that.
I made a mistake, and I'm willing to take the responsibilities.
But at least you're off the hook for the move.
Well, I still can help her a little bit.
You think you would?
Yes.
You will?
Yes.
I know you're sorry for what all went on, obviously.
Yes.
At least you say. Are you still trying to get back together with her?
No, we on a friendship relationship right now.
So what does that mean?
Well, we just talk, say hi and bye.
And you're willing to leave it that way?
Yeah, yes,
Just
sir.
friendship?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, good luck to you, okay?
Thank
Sorry all this happened. Okay. All right. Pamela's on her way out of the courtroom. You okay with what happened?
Kind of. Yeah.
I know you wish you'd have gotten the moving,
Yes,
right?
definitely. Because that kind of set me back a little financially, but
No kidding.
yeah.
So anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
He was going to give you the door anyway. Yeah, no,
Right.
But you would have filed suit anyway, right?
Right. Well, it just took too long, and then he started, saying I'll get somebody else to pay it when he found out I was in a relationship.
All
So,
right. So will you still be friends with him, do you think? Or
high and by, like he said.
high and by?
Yes.
All right. Well, congratulations. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you.
Thank
Hope
you.
everything goes well.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Harvey, what do you think?
Well, Doug, look, when you go to court, you are entitled to the damages that you actually suffered, money you actually lost as a result of the other party's conduct. You are not, repeat, you are not entitled to a windfall. A lot of people think that they can get more for their troubles than it's worth. You can't.
I know if a couple breaks off an engagement, the ring goes back to the giver. But what if the engagement ring was also a birthday or a Christmas present at the same time? Then what?
Okay.
You have a lot of cases
I
over
do,
the years
and it's not
involving...
believe it or not, there's some states that say that the ring can be kept if the breakup wasn't your fault,
Right.
which is crazy because all of a sudden now you have to get into it and say, well,
Right.
but he
Whose fault
cheated,
was
but
it
she
really?
broke up with me because
Well,
I cheated. Well,
right.
whose fault is that?
Whose fault
it's
is it then,
nuts.
right?
Yeah.
The cheater's
It
fault,
should
or-
just, it should be a bright line rule in every state, I believe, that it goes back to the person who gave it to you because it is a gift in contemplation of marriage. And if the marriage isn't going to happen, then the gift goes back. Now, just because you give an engagement ring on a birthday or on
magically
Christmas, that
transform
doesn't
it?
magically turn it into something other than that. It's if I were you, I'd say, hey, and where's my birthday present? All right? Because it's still a gift in contemplation
That is
of
the kind
marriage.
of thing you would say. But, so typically in the law, this is what they call a conditional gift.
Conditional
I
gift.
give it to you conditionally, and it's really officially yours the day we get married.
Kind of,
Right?
yeah. That's really
And
how it
until
is.
then, you're kind of out of luck.
Right. That's actually one of the most romantic moments in our marriage.
Oh.
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I do. My wedding band. Right?
You lost your wedding band.
Right.
And you went to the jeweler and said, she's gonna kill me. Make me another wedding band.
That's right.
I don't even want her to know I lost it. And you got another wedding band. You had lost it actually, you know, if you had been at a strip club, I would have been really mad. But
well, it's customary to take your wedding band off the air. But,
but what you had done, instead, you lost it at camp when you were a camp counselor in the pediatric oncology camp where you were a camp counselor.
Right.
And he gave you another ring. And then one day I hear you cursing in your closet.
Right.
And saying, I can't believe it. And you look down, and the ring is on your finger, and you have the other ring in your hand. And that's the first time I had even known that you had done that.
Right.
That was
you
really...
happened to be walking by my closet at the time, and you kind of looked in or dipped in and goes, what is it? Tell me. And I'm like, oh, all right. I lost my wedding band.
That was the sweetest thing. I can't believe you almost didn't tell me.
I didn't want to hurt your feelings by making you think I lost it.